So for those of you here, I'm delighted to be joined by Vivek Badrinath, Director General and Member of the Board of the GSMA, and many congratulations on your recent appointment.
Thank you so much, Jodi.
And thank you for joining us to discuss the importance of diversity in the context of the economic challenge we've heard about today, and also the global headwinds that we see to the progression of diversity and inclusion. It's imperative for business success, and I am preaching to the converted. The GSMA has been undertaking research and education in this area for many years, and over the last 12 months, joined Change the Face, which is a powerful alliance of corporates in tech and technology, tech and telecoms, to grow representation. Now, looking at today's lineup, you could be forgiven that our progress is unabated, but it most definitely is not and is slowing. So the first question to you, Vivek, today is, you have a bird's eye view of your industry and the global ecosystem. How is a lack of diversity showing up, for example, in areas such as digital access and innovation?
Yes, indeed. These are not good times for the progress on gender equality. Just take the gender. Let's look at the gaps. The first gap we have is women in STEM, and that's 26% only. And it's actually, it's marginally better on women using AI in the workspace, so at 29%. So I think that's a pretty shocking number. But it actually goes all the way. And I just wanted to highlight our recent report on the gender inclusion, the annual gender inclusion report, and it's a bad report. And it's a bad report because between 2017 and 2020, the telecom industry brought down the gap from 25% to 15%. That is, women in 2017 were 25% less likely to have a mobile phone. So that starts at the beginning, access simply to the technology. And that number came down to 15% by 2020. COVID hit, and during that period, we regressed. And it went all the way back up to 2021. It got down slowly since 22, but now it's at a standstill at 15%. And that tells you that in economically difficult times, this progression towards what has become a piece of the Maslow pyramid, which is having a smartphone is actually access to opportunity, it's access to an economic activity in general, or to financial inclusion. This access is getting hindered. And I think that's a pretty scary feeling.
And what are your thoughts on the levers for change to bring that down even further?
Well, as an industry, we've been very committed. Actually, 50 operators over the last few years have been part of the Connected Women's Initiative, and they've addressed bringing 80 million women more into the digital ecosystem, because that's the first step, which means access to health, means access to education, means access to business. And there's another angle that is extremely important, which is indeed building these coalitions of the willing. The issues are quite well understood. The first one is affordability. And so we're working with the World Bank, we're working with several operators to try to bring in affordable handsets in such a way that that you can break that affordability gap. But it's also about content in local languages, it's about relevant content, and it's also about culture and society. It's about the scare around the dangers of the internet, the dangers of the digital space, and I think there's a lot of collaboration work needed on that.
And on that point, you mentioned coalitions there. Are there any others that you would call out in terms of being able to drive that change?
Well, I think it's a broader conversation that needs to be had. I mean, we looked at...
We can't cover it in 6 minutes, is what you're suggesting.
Yeah, kind of. But certainly, if we look at the Equals program, international organizations have a role to play. Operators work together to bring in local language content or local language LLMs in certain countries, and there's no real economic advantage in keeping your LLM to yourself in this space, is what we're beginning to realize, or many operators are beginning to realize. But more broadly, I think our industry, the telecom industry, has had a tendency to think of itself as the center of the universe, or at least of its own universe. I mean, the whole world's a phone, and if you look at it in the proper way, right? Well, not anymore. And I think the collaboration has to be across the value chain, which means that talking to the web players, talking to the AI providers to ensure that relevant content is made available, that when you talk to Google and Apple, the OS allows you to deliver cheaper smartphones, that your electricity is available so that the cost of coverage goes down. These are all the pieces that actually are required to be efficient in this space.
Thank you. And we would like to thank the GSMA for the work it's doing, because you have a unique vantage point to be able to change and shape the industry, but only with the collaboration. And to our point, to try and make sure we all stick to time on the agenda, the key message for us is that it is a business imperative. It's synonymous with success, having diversity both in senior leadership and within the workforce. And yet our progress is slowing. And in this economic challenge, it's one of the variables we can control. So our ask collectively would be that every business in this room commits to changing the face. Thank you.
Very
And I'll
much.
hand over to Jolyon.